Okay, and now this brings us to call to the board, and I'd like to start tonight. I'd like to start with Trustee Johnson.
Thank you. So effective January 20th, I've been promoted to the Vice President of Community Investment at HSBC Bank. And in this role, I will lead a team responsible for HSBC's engagement activities across the United States, which includes our global programs and HSBC Scholars Program, all of our volunteerism, junior achievement, our employee resource and affinity groups, community events, and other key employee engagement programs. As I enter my 31st year with HSBC, I'm excited about this opportunity for professional and personal development and my continued work in community investment programs. However, as you can tell by now, this is not the normal call to the board for me, and this news is bittersweet. This career opportunity impacts my ability to continue to serve the community as a village trustee, as my new position transitions me to New York City. I've informed my village board colleagues and key staff of this pending transfer. Tonight, I inform the citizens and stakeholders of Oak Park that my resignation will take effect at the conclusion of the Monday, March 3rd, 2014 regular board meeting. I can be roasted or toasted at that time. Serving on the village board for the last 11 years, and prior to that as a commissioner for a combined 5 years on the Community Development Citizen Advisory Commission and Planning Commission, has been one of my greatest honors. Village government has been a highlight of my life. Indeed, in some analogous ways, it's been the love of my life. And frankly, there are pros and cons to that. But how fortunate for me to have both a day job and a nights and weekend job that I truly love. A great deal of progress has been made since 2003 in advancing various goals and objectives for the village. The current board is working diligently to continue that progress, most notably with action we took this very evening to improve and enhance approaches to economic development. I will have time in the remaining weeks to further reflect on my public service here and to share highlights. But for tonight, quite simply, I want to thank all of my board colleagues from 2003 through today, the incredible staff who work hard day in and day out to serve the public, and most importantly, the phenomenal citizens of Oak Park who inspired me to get active in the first place. I'm a better person because of my Oak Park experience. And for every person who has said to me, "What a thankless job," I have continued and will continue to fully dispute that notion, and continue to do so even after 11 years, because this is not a thankless job. It's truly an honor. It's been one of the most rewarding accomplishments, and but for an incredible job opportunity, I would have stayed through my last year. But at the moment, I'm in a New York state of mind, with my heart always being in Oak Park. Thank you.
Well, I can say for me, it's been an honor serving with you, and I am sorry to see you go. Call to the board is still on the board.
All right, I'll start with the easy stuff. There actually is a North Avenue business plan. It was the first one ever done. It's got to be at least 20 years old. It was the first attempt that the village did in creating a business plan, and I'm not sure it was tremendously successful. But if you look around somewhere, it's in there. And then probably 10 years ago, the board and the plan commission did a walking tour of North Avenue and walked from one end to the other, with the notion being that the board would then consider updating the plan for North Avenue, and that has to be at least 10 years ago. So I think the call for attention to North Avenue is long overdue. I will not be here at Ray's last meeting. I'll be out. And so I do want to take a moment to say a few words. Maybe. Maybe not. Nobody ever came to a meeting more prepared than Ray, ever. Every single week, week after week after week, for all of those years, nobody was ever more prepared than Ray. Nobody was more involved with their committees and commissions and more tied to them than Ray. In fact, Ray often encouraged the rest of us to be a little bit more actively engaged with our committees and our commissions that we were assigned to than we were. And he took that relationship so seriously. He didn't just go to the meeting. He knew every issue they were talking about. He understood what they were talking about, and he was their voice at our table. Nobody went to more public events than Ray, hands down. Whatever was going on around town, you could always count on Ray to be there in his role as trustee. He was there to listen, to learn, and to participate and to support. Nobody knows more, with maybe the exception of David Pope, the details of the workings of the village of Oak Park, who can answer the question. And there was an example tonight at the meeting, I forget where it was, but Ray just knew the data off the top of his head. Certainly nobody was more detail-oriented than Ray, and that may be actually a fault, not necessarily always a strength. But when Ray talked about citizens and being recruited to be a trustee, Ray recruited me as a citizen, and I would not be a trustee if it weren't for Ray coming to me and saying, Colette, why don't you consider running? Mm-hmm. I am tremendously grateful for his support, collaboration throughout the years. He's been a great fellow trustee and someone who I will always look up to and admire as the ultimate role model.
Wow,
Thank you for your service.
that's great. That's wonderful.
I'm glad I have more time because because I'm going to need it. That's what I said to Ray when he told me what was going on, that I was going to need a couple days. I might need more than a couple days, but I come to New York sometimes, so maybe we'll hash it out then. Let me just dispense with the North Avenue issue. I do think that we need to move that to the top of our priority list in 2014, especially since it's one of our board goals for 2013 through 2015. So I hope that we can get into the nitty-gritty of that relatively soon, especially while we have all of this great citizen energy behind that issue. I wonder, as people start to come forward with their hosannas, well-deserved hosannas for Ray Johnson, if things aren't going to start sounding a little bit like a broken record, because Ray recruited me too, and he didn't just recruit me to run for trustee. He also recruited me to chair the Disability Access Commission. So I think, since I have more time, I'm not going to go on as long. I think that the mark of a really special public servant is not just your own record of accomplishment, but the extent to which you can see the potential in other people that maybe that person doesn't even see about themselves, and point that out to them. So I will always be very grateful to you for that. But maybe by the time of your last meeting, I'll have recovered my sense of humor and we can do some roasting too.
Right.
I'll save my comments for a later date too, but very sorry to hear of your decision, elated to know of your decision in terms of what it means for you personally and professionally, so, but we'll talk more. And I'm just going to add to something Adam just said, but I'm going to balance it out. I want to see two things elevated. One is North Avenue and the other is Roosevelt Road, because I've been pretty consistent in saying I think we've unnecessarily neglected both of those corridors, and clearly there are citizens on both ends of town who are very passionate about trying to seek some new development in both those. So I'd like to see us spend a fair amount of time on both those to balance it out.
I'll save my A material too for a later time, but I know there's going to be time to roast and to toast, but I know we'll all take time to boast. For, I claimed it first, for all.
He's been waiting all night for that.
All of the accomplishments, because not only has Ray been to all of us a tremendous colleague and a role model, but such a good friend. But more to come. Thank you, Ray.
And I do have a regular call. I wanted to get this other thing done. So,
You gotta take advantage of the next few meetings.
so this is serious. So the Farmers Market Commission would like to extend their market season, but I have to say that it wasn't exactly warmly embraced. So that might be something to check into, because I frankly think it would be a great idea. The commission is on board. I think the farmers are on board. They're looking to extend the market on the back end. The front end, that's tough because there's not as much produce. But on the back end, there is a lot. And so maybe you could check into that, because if the board concurs, because the concern, I think, from the staff who are present is that there's additional security costs with regards to crossing guards and a little bit of police protection or oversight, et cetera. To me, those aren't insurmountable hurdles and shouldn't be that expensive to add to the community's, Saturday meeting place in the fall. So I'll put that out there for consideration.
Well, I just want to thank each of you on the board tonight for making this achievement that we have achieved earlier happen. I think it's as you know, it's an extraordinary achievement with the economic development, and nothing makes me happier than having a unanimous vote, and I'm so pleased that Ray Johnson was here tonight to be part of making this extraordinary achievement. And on that, may I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Got that? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None? Have a great night, everybody, and thank you.